Bert Headden, thank you so much for inviting us into your lovely apartment overlooking downtown Dallas. We are so grateful that you agreed to join us today and tell us about your history with CSL Dallas.
My pleasure.
Okay, tell us how you discovered CSL Dallas. When, what was it called then, who was the minister, etc.
How did I discover CSL Dallas? Well, the true story is that one Saturday afternoon, one of my normal drinking buddies, Jim Wisdom, told me, Bert, we're not going to get too drunk tonight because tomorrow morning I'm taking you to the most amazing church you ever saw in your life. And on Sunday morning, he took me to what was in the First Church of Religious Science on Willow Lane. At the time, the church had about a 2-acre campus with 2 buildings, a sanctuary and a 2-story educational building. And the minister at that time was, I am awful sure, was Andy Carricker, Caracker. I remember he was a very, very, very diminutive gentleman. He had been the president of some small college in the Midwest before going into the ministry, and it seemed like he almost had to stand on a Coke box to see over the podium. But my memory of that day was one. Now, mind you, this was about 1971 or 1972, a long time ago. Yet, my memory of that first experience is one I've heard repeated so many times. Well, that's what I really believe about life. Why didn't anyone ever explain it to me that way before? So that was my first encounter with First Church of Religious Science.
So, do you know how and when CSL Dallas started, and who was the first minister?
Well, the when, we have the original charter was sometime in the early to mid 60s, and I honestly don't remember the name of the founding minister. It is on that piece of paper at CSL Dallas somewhere, but I don't remember her name.
And was Dr. Donald Curtis ever one of the ministers?
Dr. Donald Curtis was certainly one of the ministers. Now, he had left by the time I got there, but Donald was one of the compatriots, as it were, of Dr. Holmes. He was an old timer in the business, shall we say, and he had been minister at First Church of Religious Science for a number of years before leaving to either found or join what became Unity right across the creek.
Okay. Who were some of the other ministers? And what do you remember about their major contributions to CSL Dallas?
Craig Carter was the minister most of the years I was there. I don't know exactly when Dr. Carter came, but he came in sometime in the mid-70s, and he left in 78. I was on the board of First Church at that time, and he left in 78, and after that, because of a number of things, I moved to New York, and my association, the direct association for a number of years, was very loose and actually did not. So I really can't, in truth, tell you the names of the interim ministers.
Okay. Can you tell us about the different places CSL Dallas has been located? You mentioned Willow Lane.
Well, we had the property on Willow Lane, and and I don't know exactly when they moved out of that property, sometime obviously in the early 80s. And after that, the church was in a variety of rental properties. There was a building that had been some other church on Hillcrest, which where the church was located for a number of years. So after that, the church moved into a series of rental properties off of Midway, and were there in various places for a number of years until we moved into the existing premises on Spring Valley.
And so the church has always been kind of centrally located in Dallas, somewhere in that kind of
Yes,
North
Dallas, North Central Dallas, yes.
Okay. And has it always been a destination church? I'm always amazed by how many people drive so many miles to come.
You know, I really don't know how to answer that question, but yes, it has always been a destination church. It has certainly never had to depend on the local environment, the local community. It has always been a destination church, so I've never thought of it that way, but yes, it has.
What are some of the memories about your association with CSL Dallas that really stand out to you?
I guess the most vivid memory that I have is watching the church be way up here, watching it go way down here, and then under the leadership of Reverend Petra, watching it come back up here, perhaps even higher. To me, that is a seminal lesson on how we just can't take things for granted. Just because a church or a spiritual community is thriving and bustling, it is amazing how quickly that can go under the wrong leadership, and which is certainly what I observed, the wrong leadership taking it down, if I might, and it has been an incredible pleasure to watch and to somewhat participate with Reverend Petra as she has brought it back and to even higher levels than it ever was before.
So, without naming names or specific circumstances, can you tell us, related to what you just said, what we need to be aware of and on the watch for so that we do continue going down the correct path that we are now?
Well, I can try to answer the question as to what we need to watch for. In a word, it is ministers. Ministers in any spiritual organization have incredible power. And I certainly watched, although from afar, a minister lead this church down the primrose path and ultimately lose all of its money and all of the wealth that was there. And because of the power that ministers have, it is important to have a board of directors or that is truly independent and that includes people who are willing to scream or to call bullshit when bullshit occurs, if you'll pardon my French. So I think that is very important.
You've alluded to this, but talk more about how CSL Dallas has evolved spiritually over the years.
Ooh, spiritually, that's a hard one. How it has evolved, I mean, because spiritually it has continued to be the teachings of Ernest Holmes of science of mind. So it's hard for me to answer a question about evolving spiritually, but evolving in every other way, from having evolving and most recently into a center which characterized by a huge level of commitment on the part of the membership. Membership's a strange thing, but I have observed under the leadership of Petra, and now Petra and Karen, incredible shifts in the level of commitment that we see from the membership. So that to me is a major shift.
Thank you. What do you love the most about CSL Dallas?
The community and the teachings.
And is there anything that you would change about CSL Dallas?
Oh, I wouldn't go there on a bet.
When, and you may have already answered this, when and how were you drawn to New Thought? Is it when your friend brought you in?
I didn't know. I started reading The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale when I was in high school. I was first exposed to something closer to New Thought when I was introduced to psycho-cybernetics in the 60s, and found his writings on the power of the subconscious mind to be incredibly powerful and to make sense and to track everything I knew. So when I discovered the science of mind, which not only took what I knew about the power, or what I believed I knew about the power of the subconscious mind, and tied it with a theory, as it were, on how that worked, a cosmology about how that really worked and related, it was a natural fit for me.
What is your vision for the future of CSL Dallas?
My vision for the future of CSL Dallas is that CSL Dallas is, by definition, a teaching, learning place. And the market is infinite because CSL Dallas and the teachings of the science of mind are all about personal experience and personal growth, and we are overrun. I mean, there is certainly no shortage of the need for that, and more importantly, it is a message that resonates and that attracts people to it because of the message of personal power and personal responsibility for one's own life. So I see the future of CSL Dallas as being an influencer, a source of growth and inspiration for an unlimited number of people. And we have so many ways to communicate our message. It isn't all about butts in seats on Sunday by any means. There are so many tools that we are learning to use to communicate and to share the message and the power of the story that we have.
And so to piggyback off that, Reverend Petra and Reverend Karen have discussed with us on many occasions how they feel that Dallas, the community of Dallas, is poised to do great things and to lead not only the community and the state, but the world in how to create a world that works for everyone. So what is your feeling about that?
Well, I will say that Dallas is unusual. I mean, even though it's generally regarded a fairly right-wing or from a political point of view, or fairly conservative, from a innovation point of view, that just is not true. Dallas is a center. I came here as a small business person because I was attracted by the fact that people in Dallas were willing to invest in change and invest in new ideas. And I find the people of Dallas are incredibly willing and anxious to embrace new views and to take leadership positions. So I would say to that, if not here, why? If not here, where? Perhaps. If not now, when? I absolutely agree that Dallas is a great place to start.
Looking back over your 47 years at CSL Dallas, what 3 words or 3 ideas or 3 sentences would you use to describe CSL Dallas?
47 years is a lot to summarize in 3 experiences, but when I think of CSL Dallas, there are, I guess, 3 words that do come to mind. The first is teaching and its compatriot learning. The second thing is community, and the third thing is spirit, the center for spiritual living. And so classes and teaching classes, taking classes, teaching classes, taking classes, teaching classes, taking classes has been such an integral part of my whole 47-year experience. I literally started taking science of mind classes in 1972, and I'm still taking classes.
And teaching them also.
And teaching them also.
So, speaking of that, when did you become a practitioner, and how long did you study to become a practitioner?
Well, I actually only became a practitioner in 2004, and I started taking classes again leading to practitioner training in 99. So it was a 5-year period from retaking foundations to completing practitioner training.
I find that very helpful. I was rereading a Thomas Troward book this morning and realizing I understood it better after reading it the second time.
Absolutely.
What is a practitioner's purpose and or job?
Sometimes I say euphemistically that our primary job or primary purpose is to lend our faith to those who at any particular moment are lacking faith or lacking the ability to see clearly their own truth. It's amazing how sometimes it can be so difficult to see your own truth and yet so easy to help others see or to see the truth for others. And so principally that is our job. We are officially the prayer arm of the church, and we do coaching and the use of science of mind principles and practices in an individual's life. And but prayer and coaching are our 2 principal functions.
And what's the best way for someone to get in touch with a practitioner?
Pick up the phone, call them. All of our business cards are there. Approach one of us at church. Email us. Any of a million different ways. We are always available. Come to prayer after service, and perhaps then set an appointment there for future coaching sessions.
Who is your favorite religious science or New Thought author?
Oh, my favorite author? Well, obviously there are 3. The 3 that we teach in the Roots class. Thomas Troward, who is probably my personal favorite, Emma Curtis Hopkins, and Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, are the three authors who Holmes cited as being the most seminal to his work, and because I have taught them so much, they are the most seminal to my thought.
And how has spiritual mind treatment benefited you and or changed your life?
I use spiritual mind treatment in everything I do. I practice it daily when I am dealing with any kind of decision. I go immediately into prayer. So I can't say, I don't know what my life would have been without it, but I can assure you it would have been significantly different.
Not on the script, but when you do spiritual mind treatments, do you speak them out loud? Do you do them in your head? Is it a combination? Do you think that's...
If at all possible, I speak them out loud. I think the actual articulating the words when we do things in our mind, it's easy to not actually articulate the words, whereas speaking them out loud, it gives a finality, a crispness, a clarity to the thought. So I try to speak them out loud.
What was the most difficult concept for you to wrap your head around after you came to CSL Dallas, New Thought, or Religious Science?
Probably the most difficult concept was and is that whereas it was fairly easy for me to move into the world of accepting that through the use of my own subconscious I could affect my life. But the concept that we are a part of the one mind and that when I change my thinking, I am actually affecting the whole human race, and that on things like we talk about world peace, we talk about the major problems of the world, and it is sometimes it can be very difficult to grasp the concept that I actually can affect the universe or the whole human race by my consciousness. And so that the work I do on myself is actually working toward the solution of these major world situations.
What advice do you have for someone who is new to CSL Dallas and or religious science or New Thought?
My advice to someone just being introduced to CSL or big science of mind, start taking classes now. When you get through with that class, start another one. Take a class. Classes are the way. You can go to CSL Dallas every Sunday and be inspired, but to really learn to apply this stuff in your own life, there is no substitute for taking classes.
And is there anything else you'd like to tell us that we haven't asked about?
CSL Dallas is a wonderful community. It is a loving place. It is a source of incredible potential for all who come. And so it is our job to make sure that the doors stay open and to make sure that we are there for the next Bert to come into.